What up, my awesome viewers? It's Rio Gion here. Let's talk about elves, talk about push elves. In the beginning, it was gonna be suicide elves, but I didn't have enough suicide cards, sadly, so it's gonna be push elves. The whole concept of push is to just like constantly have this sort of like train effect going on where just one thing leads to another, and it's yeah, that's probably like the best way how I can describe it. It's just you're just keep on pushing it towards the, you know, lots of combos and stuff. Man, I lost my train of thought. Okay, well, anyways, we have our commander Lathril. She's in the pre-con, so she's definitely gonna be as the commander for the push elves. And then we have our mana dorks, or things that makes mana, which is key to the build, and there's a lot of them because there are cards in here that you definitely want to push out, and these things, it's just having the effect of just, okay, I play something and then I play something and then I draw something. That's basically how my particular plan of pushing is. And yeah, these are like your most common mana dorks that you often see in Magic. Like, these are very familiar faces. A lot of them are from the pre-con. My goal is to make this like as budget friendly as I possibly can. So yeah, like, it's budget friendly, but it's also pretty freaking fun to play. So besides like the and you use it right away. So this is better. Yeah, this is totally better. Okay, and then you have like the typical. This one is from the pre-con. It's kind of with potential, because there are times when like you don't have the one to pay for it and it's a dud. So that can happen. Oh, this is definitely with potential, because you know, if you get a board wipe, what's the point of playing this? But yeah, if you do have a pretty decent board presence and you have weak little elves who are digging for answers, yeah, this is pretty good. This is from the pre-con, and this is sort of the push thing I was talking about, because I have a lot of lords. Lords will definitely get you to that power 3 or greater, so then you can push. And then this is sort of like, if you have a lot of mana and you have a lot of life, then yeah, this is pretty handy. And of course, target player, not you. So if you want to take someone out of the game, you can definitely do that too. So we gotta have life gain. Life gain is pretty important, but not super important. So just your typical stuff. I know this card's like 50 bucks, but in Japanese, I believe this is Japanese. It might not be 50 bucks. It might be like half. So there you go. This is Whip of Erebos, classic all creature life link. This is one of those. This is also one of those with potential, because if you have a board wipe and you play him, you're like, whoa. I guess you lose one life, but that's pretty much it. And then these two are pretty similar to each other, where you gotta have a lot of elves. If you don't, they're like with potential again. Like you just swing them and what, like you gain one life. Yeah, but if you have a lot of elves, which I assume you would, so they can be pretty handy. This is one of those cards that are like annoying for your opponents, because it's just whenever a creature comes in, and trust me, creatures will come in, you gain one life. And this is, for some reason, a pretty good target for removal. So when they see this, for some reason they want to kill it. So alright, you know, it's not bad. And this is that new card from the pre-con, all your elves of death touch, and it has the little lord effect, you know, elf die, lose one, gain one. So that's pretty nice. And then we gotta have our lords, elf lords. And Doors of Destiny might be an expensive card, but for those of you that got the vampire precon, like this guy here, it's, you know, it is what it is. But if you get the precon like way later on, I think the precon now is probably like 200 bucks or something. It's stupidly overpriced. But hey, you know, if you got it back in the old days when it was like 35 bucks, you know, and you look at Doors of Destiny, you're like, you know, maybe this card's not that good. way back in the old days when you don't understand what magic is, and you read a card like this and you're like, wow, this card is slow. But it's not. This card is not slow. Okay, so I guess this is a lord because it does have the lordy effect of like you gaining toughness life equal to elf. I mean I could toss the guy to the life category too, and it kind of works out. And then this is definitely a lord, +1, gain 1. This is totally a lord because it gains power equal to the number of elves you have in the field and in the grave. So if you die, wow, you got a big ass creature that opponents have to deal with. Okay, this is totally a lord. You can easily replace this with something else, but hey, you know, if you don't have a lot of money, might as well, right? This is good. This is very good for your commander. I mean, if you have a lot of elves and you pump this mofo up, you swing in, that's a lot of elves. That's a lot of elves, so yeah, this is nice. This is also pretty nice for like elves dying, for part of that suicide whole thing. But hey, this is still pretty decent card, because if your elves die, they kind of replace themselves, kind of. And then we gotta have the revives. The revive isn't the best, gotta be honest with you. These two are pretty good, assuming you have a lot of mana and life. This is pretty good. This is like once per turn you get an elf back, and then these are just, you only revive one, but hey, I mean, if you can foretell and you revive an elf, which I think all creatures you have are elves, so you get some tokens with it. This one, you can kind of use it twice if you have a lot of elves going around and you need to get those like key lords back on the battlefield. Yeah, it's not bad. And these two are easily replaceable because they get the cards back to your hand. But hey, I mean, this can get an artifact, so you know, if your Doors of Destiny get blown up, which obviously it will get blown up the moment Doors of Destiny hit the field, man, you can just expect a Frozen Grip, a Wreck Sage, something's gonna happen to your Doors of Destiny. So it's a good card to bring it back, and this is just to bring back more elves. And then you got your potential whiffs. Potential whiffs are fun because you never know what you're gonna get. And yeah, I mean, if you don't have a lot of stuff, it can definitely whiff. My battery's getting out, so I'm gonna be right back, guys. Okay, and we're back with a fresh battery pack, good to go with potential whiffs. Potential whiffs are the most fun thing in this deck, but also the most risky, because you know, they're potentially a whiff, which can be hilarious, but also very dreadful if you happen to get the whiff. But hey, there's a good number of them because this is based off of the precon. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty decent. You got a lot of elves tap and blow things up, and yeah, these guys are definitely potential whiff. I mean, this is the reason why I put this as a potential whiff is because, like, what if you don't have creatures and then it's kind of a dud? But I guess not. So it's kind of up to what your mentality of a potential whiff is. But I think this is a potential whiff. And then you know, like this thing again, it relies on you having elves. If you have one elf, that's literally 3 mana for a 1/1. That's nice. And yeah, I mean this, I guess this is a potential whiff, but then again, you know, like you always have an elf spell, so maybe not. Maybe this is a lord, could be. But besides that, there's not much else that I can talk about the potential whiff besides the hilarious factor of when you whiff, it sucks. Now this is sort of like you damage control, basically. You deal with the board. This thing makes you sack each player's upkeep. So this is actually better than Anawan because at the beginning of each that player sacrifices. Unless, no, this is probably like the same as Anawan because Anawan, in your upkeep, everybody sacrifice. So more or less the same. Okay, this thing deals with the board. This is a board wipe because I do not have what's it called, Kindred Dominance, which is a hella expensive card, but you know, this is not that bad too. Rex Sage, you gotta have a Rex Sage. Feed the Swarm, kills a creature, kills an enchantment for being in black, but you gotta pay some life. And Dictator Erebos. Now this might be an expensive card. This might be like a potential $20 card, so if you don't have the money for it, don't do it. It's probably not worth it, to be honest, because like a whole deck, you can do it without this card, but I mean, if you have this card, why not? So I have this card, so why not? But yeah, it's like that. And then let's go on mana base. Mana base is really simple. I mean, you have your little dud fetch lands. You got Mortuary Mire, which is a potential revive, I guess, but it goes to the top of the deck, so it's kind of slow, to be honest. Command Tower, this is just literally a tap land because I couldn't find anything else. And then we're just dealing with basics here. We are very basic people, so we have basic lands because basic lands is honestly all you need. So there you go, a potentially budget built for Lathril. I mean, you spend 20 bucks here and then probably spend like, well, I mean, if you buy all the cards that I have, you probably spend like 180 or so. It would probably be like 100 bucks. But you don't really have to spend those $20 cards, to be honest. Like that Doors of Destiny, Vanquisher's Banner, Dictator Erebos. I gotta be honest with you, those are like what, like 1 in 99. So if you can replace it with a cheap elf, do it. Like it's not worth it to get those cards, especially now when Magic is like just way too freaking inflated. Get cheap stuff. It's Commander. What are the chances of you drawing into your expensive cards? Not that high. So there you go. If you like it, click like, subscribe, click the bell for more content. You guys stay awesome.